And as Kurt Anderson reports, they're glad that their birds are back in business.
Opening day at Memorial Stadium. This is the official start, according to many, of the Oriole baseball season, because this is where it all ended last year. Yeah, but the same many can't agree on just when on opening day the season actually starts. According to the attendant down at Gate W2, it was when he let in the first fan. Then Dennis Martinez will tell you it was he who opened the season with this first autograph. No, 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 said one old-timer. It was when they honored the Boog just before the game. That's when it all started. But the guy sitting next to him told me, well, it started when that black and orange pennant, symbol of last year's championship, was hoisted above the crowd. Certainly a proud moment. Of course, you can argue for Governor Hughes throwing out the first ball without fear of monetary penalty, or the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. But I've got to agree with the folks up in Section 34. The season just didn't start until sometime between the Royals' last out in the first inning and the first Oriole coming to bat. Because that's when a certain cab driver, bearded, balding, came down, set his beer down on the ground, came down, strolled to the exit, and did this.
Orioles history. In 1970, he was the most valuable player in the American League. He was the big man in the O's lineup. And today, he returned to Baltimore to be inducted into the team's Hall of Fame, joining former teammates Brooks and Frank Robinson and Dave McNally.
You know, when you get into a select group like that, out of all the ball players and all the people that have played in this town and this organization, it's really quite an honor.
Okay, who was the toughest guy you ever faced?
On a given day, probably Jim Cotter. In the early years when he could really throw hard and when he used to throw at your neck and stuff, you know.
No, he never did that, did he?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, how about of the guys who pitched on your ball club, who would you have least liked to have faced?
That's a tough question. You know, day in and day out, probably Jimmy Palmer. No, I'd have to say McNally.
Because he was sneaky, changing speeds.
I'd probably have to say Dobson. You know, Cuellar. Where do you just don't know what to say to a question like that.
Well, you just mentioned 4 20-game winners. That must have been something that year. Huh?
Yes, it was. It was a pleasure to go out there and know that you only had to score 2 runs.
Yeah. Chris Thomas, Action News.
Very, very nice.
He's had some nice meals since he's been retired.
12-2.
Oh, yeah. It's wonderful. It's just like when he was playing.
Yes.
He was a great guy.
They're hot.
They really are. They won one. Everybody was at 50,199. It's the biggest crowd we've ever had on opening day, Edie. And we got it going early, and we have some of the highlights of the game. The Orioles actually scored in the first inning, 2-out single and on first. And Eddie Murray doubles the right field. Steve Braun tries to make the play and can't come up with a shoestring. And that, of course, chases Singleton over the third, and Eddie makes second base. Dennis Leonard's high inside pitch. Dennis was really giving Jamie Quirk a lot of trouble to catch it with pitches all over the place. And this one got away, and Singy was able to score easily as Lee May is at bat. Now in the second, 2 on and 1 out, Mark Belanger will line a single to left field. He really jumped on this one, hit it over the leaping glove of George Brett. Renicky scores, and Rick Dempsey stops at second base. And then after Al Bumbry walks, Kiko Garcia grounds to short. UL Washington makes a good play in the hole, gets the ball to Frank White, and I thought they were going to settle for 1, but he tried to get the man at first, threw the ball away, and everybody moved up. Palmer's ahead 4-0. Now we get it out of reach with 5 in the 6th inning. Rick Dempsey's off to a terrific start. Homers into about the second row of the left field seats. 2-run homer. Then Lee May follows with a 2-run single right here. And the Orioles are way out in front now as Palmer's cruising, and Dennis Leonard, of course, is out of the ballgame at this point. That's a 2-run single. Palmer, 5 strikeouts and didn't walk anybody, was in complete control of the game, made some great pitches. When you make him hit the ball as weakly as that, you're pitching very well, as he did. George Brett got him for a homer in the 8th, and Frank White had 2 hits. Ken Singleton had his second home run in the 8th inning as he went out into the bullpen in right center field. And the final again was the Orioles 12 and Kansas City 2. We play tomorrow night, and it'll be, I hope, a little warmer tomorrow night than it might be tonight. Norman can tell us later, but off to a good start, and the record now is 2-3, and Kansas City's 3-2. Was happy to see Jim Fry come into town, but Jim knows you can't win them all. Mike Flanagan against Larry Gurr tomorrow. We'll be back.
Orioles baseball when the game is close and the O's are hot. There's a thundering roar from 34 to give it all they've got.
sure you